What's up, Browns fans? Spencer German here with you live from MetLife Stadium. The Browns are getting ready to do battle with the New York Jets later this afternoon. And obviously, Anthony Moeglin back on the home front. Made it home safe from West Lafayette, Indiana. How about that, Megs?
Big travel days for both of us yesterday.
Let's not talk about it. It was awful.
Or should we? If people don't know, the people at home, they don't know.
People don't care about my flight troubles. They got their own shit going on. They got their own stuff they're worried about. I'm just saying.
They need to know that New York City is your favorite place in the world. That's what they need to know.
I think I've already made that enough clear through some of my other exploits to this town that they know that. But obviously we're being facetious here. But no, yeah, yesterday was a rough travel day. I didn't get here till super late, but I'm here. That's all that matters. I made it to MetLife Stadium. The game kicks off in a little under 4 hours from now. And Megs, obviously, for both these teams, there's some pretty big storylines coming in. I think from the Jets standpoint, how do they respond after the trade deadline? And are they reeling from that still? Is there emotions? I got a chance to talk to a guy Antoine Staley, I'll give him a shout out here, who covers the Jets for the New York Daily News. And he kind of said, depends on who you ask. Like, some people in the locker room are like, I think we're going to respond from this. Other guys are like, yeah, I didn't really like what happened there. So it's kind of a mixed bag. We'll see what that breeds on the field. But and what's interesting off of that is, like, a lot of fans thought the Browns should do the same thing, but they didn't. They stood pat at the trade deadline. But the one big change they did make, of course, was handing over the play calling to Tommy Rees. I talked about that over at the site, that in the locker room that went over very well. It was a sign from players that Kevin Stefanski's willing to do anything to try to win. And, I think they're going to respond to that. But what is changing play callers really worth in terms of this offense finding more success and frankly, them producing more wins here down the stretch of the season?
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what differences that we're able to notice from Tommy Rees. I'm going to mute you, Jerm, real quick. I'm getting some feedback from you, but I'm just be curious to see how different it actually looks, because Tommy even said it a couple times this week, like, hey, he came to Cleveland to work with Kevin Stefanski, and they obviously see things eye and eye. But I do think that it'll be good to get somebody who's just their primary focus. You talk about it all the time. Their primary focus is calling football plays. He's going to be up in the box. He's going to just have his play sheet in front of him. He's going to be deadlocked in for 4 hours today on just calling football plays, nothing else. And I think that there is there's strength in that. There's power in that. I'm hopeful that the guys get a little bit of a bump from that. And situationally, I'm hoping to see an increase or just a better selection of play calling, maybe a couple more strategic shots, maybe some things that we're not used to seeing this at this point to the year that we get from Tommy Rees. So I'm certainly excited about it. But yeah, I mean, this is a massive day for Tommy Rees, his future as a coach, and really his future here, with the Cleveland Browns. If it goes well, heck yeah, let's go. Sign me up. If it doesn't go, if it's still a little clunky, I think that this indicates that there's bigger problems within that offense.
Well, if it's still clunky, it certainly isn't going to be his fault. Like, this offense just has a lot of issues in general. But yeah, like I have my doubts about what changing play callers really buys you, particularly with this team when the offense is as bad as it is. Like last year, we saw Kevin Stefanski do the same thing. It just so happened to be simultaneous with a quarterback change because Jameis Winston took over the offense at that time too, and it produced you a really good win immediately. And then a couple weeks later, you got the win over the Steelers in that weird snowy game on Thursday night. So I don't know, like maybe the initial results are good, but is it going to change things with the offense long term this season? I would probably bank on no, because there's just a lot of flaws with this team right now. But yeah, I think everyone's curious to see what that looks like, what a different perspective to the offense looks like. Tommy hopefully doesn't abandon the run quite as quickly as Kevin Stefanski has in previous weeks. And hopefully he can find ways to make Dillon Gabriel more comfortable, and we'll see what type of success he can have. I know the weather was going to be a factor today. I checked the forecast. It seems like it's going to be kicking in a little bit later now, that rain forecast that people were talking about. So it might not be a as massive of an issue, particularly in the early going of this game that we maybe initially thought.
Yeah, we can't tell at home, but you said it's a beautiful day behind you. Like, it looks kind of like
right now, yeah.
But the sun did kind of peek through when you changed a little bit of your angle. So that's awesome to see, man. I didn't want this to be like let's tell the truth about this game. This is two of the bad teams in the NFL, and if it was windy and cold and rainy like that, this game would have been a tough watch. So it is going to be good that at least the weather's not going to play a factor for a little bit. And truthfully, it's going to be good for Dylan Gabriel. He gets a chance to get a normal game today. Like, this is a normal game and a normal opportunity to really be evaluated against a team that you should be able to score against. Like, the Browns should be, in theory, able to score some points today, and you'll be able to get a straight evaluation. That
Let me ask you this: if Gabriel does struggle today, do you think Shedeur Sanders could be starting next week against the Baltimore Ravens?
I think so. I think you're at a time where there's only a handful of games left. I mean, it's already week 10, which is unbelievable to say.
Yeah.
So that leaves you with Browns are 2-6 right now, so they'll have 8 games left. Maybe. Yeah, I think absolutely. If he struggles again, you can't keep rolling the same thing out. And at some point, the fans are excited about seeing Shedeur, and so the players have to be excited about seeing him too, which, next week might make a lot of sense. Play against one of Pop's former teams, I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Dylan would really have to struggle for it to be a quarterback change next week. We'll see. I think today's probably going to go decently well for the offense, and if the Browns win, like I think both of us are sort of anticipating here, we'll get to our predictions coming up, then they probably don't make that change next week, but I do think it's looming if the struggles obviously continue for him. I've kind of targeted that Raiders game as the game where it could happen, but I think it might even be later than that depending on how things go today and then obviously next week as well. Megs, we know on the defensive side of things, there's a key injury, Carson Schlesinger. We don't have his status yet for the game. I know overnight we learned that Harold Fannin Jr. is likely to go. On Saturday, the team did activate Cedric Tillman as promised to the 53-man roster, so he's going to be good to go. So some reinforcements for the offense, that's good news. But on the defensive side, no Carson Schlesinger. That could play a major role on that side of the ball. Like this Jets team is going to want to run the football. You have Justin Fields, who's kind of that dual-style quarterback who can do a lot with his legs. He's a freak athlete. And you got Breece Hall to worry about. So I think the defense will be okay. The keys here are limiting Justin Fields as a runner and taking away Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. And I think there's not a ton of that this offense gives you to worry about other than that. But at the same time, without Carson Schlesinger, if he can't go, that could be a tougher task for that defense because he is such a good player and flies around and makes some huge plays for this team. So they would certainly miss him today, but I think the defense can sort of handle things even without him in this one against the Jets.
Yeah, having Garrett Wilson back for the Jets, I think, is a big one for them getting back after a couple weeks. And that dude, talk about a guy who just plays football. Like, he even said it today, my job isn't to worry about the future of the Jets. My job isn't to worry about trades. My job is to worry about going out and catching footballs. Like, has the perfect.
Yeah, I like Garrett Wilson a lot.
I love him.
Yeah.
I love him, man. When I don't know how true the rumors were that the Browns were trying to trade for him, but I was like, if they try to do that and add a couple more, add a wide receiver or two in the draft, you feel really good about the worst receiver room in the NFL going to like a decent one. I love Garrett Wilson, and I'm excited to watch him today. I think he's going to be a tough cover for the Browns on defense. But you're right, not having Schlesinger could be a big one for Cleveland, but just dominate the game with the defensive line as they've always done. Be sticky in coverage, and really limiting the big play. I know that in my mind is the big one for Cleveland, and I think that they should be okay on offense. But just a couple weeks ago, the Jets went for 40 points against the Bengals, so they do have the ability to make big plays. Just up to the Browns defense to limit that stuff.
The difference is they went for 40 points against the Bengals defense, which is one of the worst in football. So I think they'll have a little bit tougher time today. I will say this, too. Last time Myles Garrett played against Justin Fields, he set his career high in sacks at 4.5, which he just broke, obviously, before the bye week against New England. So,
what if he just goes back-to-back career days again? Like, goes 5 sacks last time.
Dude, if he gets 5 sacks again or even 4.5 sacks today, he's going to definitely break the single-season record if he gets – because he's at 10. He'd be at like 14, 15 with 8 weeks to go. You just need 1 sack a game to break it. It'd be pretty crazy. Yeah. We'll see what happens. But anyway, Megs, it's that time of the program here where we dive into our piece over at roundtable.io/sports/NFL/Browns. And we give the people that don't necessarily want to go read our predictions, but would rather just hear us say it here on this platform, what our predictions are for this game. Megs, let the people know, where's your head at for this one?
All right, it's funny because I just wrote this 20 minutes ago that today's a day that both teams probably would benefit more from a loss than a win. So why that's important is because that means the Browns are going to win. That the Browns are going to win because of that. So I got Browns 27, Jets 13, and I got it looking a little bit better on offense. I am excited to see Tommy Rees, just the difference that it makes. I don't, again, we referenced it a little bit ago. I don't think it's going to be, hey, the Browns can score 50 points a game now. But I do think there'll be a little bit more continuity, a little bit more consistency, and a little bit more, hey, this play makes sense. These plays are marrying each other, which I think is what we've lost with Kevin calling it, which is a song for another time. So that is that's what I'm looking to see from the offense. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm excited to see them just kind of get back to good. Against bad teams, they really they do a good job of just playing strong defense and suffocating teams. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. And I do think, even your source report there that the Jets locker room's kind of split. I know if it was 100% locked in on, hey, we're just moving forward past the trade deadline, that would that would have my attention. The fact that some guys are in, some guys are curious, tells me that there's some split there. So I'm not real sure how much buy-in the Jets are going to have. Therefore, I think the Browns are going to have a fun one today. They get out of there 27-13, move to 3-6, get a nice little win coming back to Cleveland.
Yeah, we also Brees Hall obviously tweeted that day where he kind of won it out. So we'll see what that sort of breeds today on the field. By the way, you mentioned it's probably better for these teams to both lose today. I saw the numbers, percentages on the chances to get the number one overall pick for these two teams are basically 27%, or it's it goes down to 7 or 8% or 27%. If you lose, it's up to 27%. If you win, it's down to 8%. So that certainly is the case. And after the day that Fernando Mendoza had yesterday, this might be the game that decides who gets him. We'll see.
And many people probably didn't get to see what Ty Simpson did at nighttime because it was on ESPN.
Yeah.
But he was also hooping.
That's right, the YouTube.
And there's two dudes down there, man, that are intriguing. that have my attention.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, my prediction is similar to Meg's, especially understand the weather might not be as big of an issue. And as I get this glare in my face today, yeah, it's flashing behind me, I guess. Anyway, as I with that sort of factoring in, I'm going Browns 24, Jets 10. I think the defense still able to sort of swarm these guys and limit the damage offensively. I think the offense finds some rhythm and is able to score 24 points with some help from the defense. I think it's not going to come easy every single drive because we know this offense struggles. But I do think that the defense will make a couple plays that set them up for some points, and they'll get out of here with a 24-10 win over the Jets to, like you said, improve to 3-6 on the season. And I'm sure guys in the locker room will be talking about getting back to 500 pretty soon. So we'll see if they can make it happen.
I'll be screaming that from the mountaintops. Hey, did you remember there was a game in Germany this morning?
Oh, shoot. Did that start already?
It did start already, yeah. Falcons versus
Berlin.
Hope
I started
game.
The right people. I forgot. Yesterday's travel, I think, just erased my mind. Anyway.
But speaking of, wait, before we get out of here, some news from that game specifically with the Colts. The report yesterday that from Rappaport that the Browns had a deal lined up for A.D. Mitchell, who that would have been a nice little addition. I guess it was a late round pick that he was basically coming to Cleveland, and then the Jets were like, nah, throw him into our deal for Sauce. And they're like, okay, and then they pulled it away. I don't know. That was just, I don't know what that deal tells me. It just tells me at least the Browns were ringing some lines at the trade deadline, so that's cool. Yeah. But would have been a nice, late round. That's your typical Andrew Berry trade for a wide receiver drafted in the first round.
His wide receiver trades have generally worked out, so you never know. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us here pregame. We are about 3 hours, a little over 3 hours from kickoff now that we wrap this thing up. As always, follow along over at roundtable.io/sports/NFL/Browns. We'll have you covered there with our game thread. We'll have you covered with some written stuff as well. I'll have my column go up after the game. And then jump on over here to the YouTube channel as well. Post-game, you'll see our press conferences from today, anything that is said from Kevin Stefanski, Myles Garrett, and so on and so forth. And Megs and I will have another conversation with you after the game just relating to whatever plays out on the field behind me here against the New York Jets. So appreciate you guys hanging out. We'll talk to you again then. Until then, keep on following along with all things Cleveland Browns with Cleveland Browns Roundtable.